Hey folks, big news from the skies. Ukraine just got a fresh batch of French Mirage 2000 fighter jets because apparently F-16s weren't enough of a headache for Russia. I hope you feel the need for speed because the first Mirage 2000s have just officially touched down in Ukraine, courtesy of the French. Wait, this is a French video?
Ah oui, monsieur, you now fly le Mirage, it is magnifique. And remember, always respect la baguette in the cockpit, eh?
I don't think French people actually dress like that.
But of course I am French. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent, you American pig dog?
Thanks, and all my viewers in France just unsubscribed. Fantastic. Alright, so maybe French pilots don't actually hand out baguettes before missions, but hey, if they did, I wouldn't be mad. Ukrainian pilots who've been training in France for months actually flew these Mirages home, a huge upgrade from the early war days when Ukraine was relying on old Soviet MiGs and Sukhois that were already outdated back when Nokia brick phones were cutting-edge tech. Now, to be fair, Russia still flies MiGs and Sukhois too, but with one major difference. They've been upgrading theirs incrementally over the years. Ukraine's not so much. But with the Mirage 2000s, that problem just got a whole lot smaller. Hey friends, Wes here, and for those who aren't aviation nerds, here's the short version. The Mirage is a single-engine delta wing fighter built by Dassault Aviation. It's fast, Mach 2.2 fast, maneuverable, and unlike Russia's aging fleet, equipped with modern radar and avionics. Though it may be getting a bit long in the tooth compared to the newer Rafael, this aircraft is still a formidable dogfighter with a max speed of over 2,336 kilometers per hour and a combat range that allows it to loiter for over 2.5 hours at 150 nautical miles from home. The Mirage 2000 variant, the one that Ukraine is getting, is an advanced version with upgraded avionics, better radar, and the ability to engage multiple targets at once. It features the RDY pulse-Doppler radar, which allows it to track up to 8 enemy aircraft simultaneously, while engaging 4 at the same time. That's a serious advantage when facing Russia's dwindling yet still dangerous fleet of Su-30s and Su-35s. The Mirage 2000 is no slouch when it comes to firepower. Ukraine's new birds will be armed with Mach air-to-air missiles. Now, these are radar and infrared guided missiles with a range of up to 80 kilometers, making them a deadly threat to Russian jets and drones alike. Ukraine will also receive Scalp EG cruise missiles with a range of over 250 kilometers. These stealthy missiles will allow Ukraine to strike deep into Russian-occupied territory, hitting high-value targets without putting pilots in harm's way. Now, the AFU has already been using the aforementioned AASM Hammer bombs that we've talked about on this channel before. These modular, precision-guided munitions can be launched from a distance, perfect for taking out Russian fortifications and command centers without needing to fly directly over the battlefield. And finally, the Mirage boasts twin 30mm cannons. While missiles and bombs do most of the heavy lifting, nothing quite beats a pair of high-powered cannons when an enemy aircraft gets too close for comfort. But one of the biggest threats to Ukrainian pilots isn't Russian fighters. It's the extensive network of surface-to-air missile systems Russia has deployed across occupied territories. To survive in such a high-threat environment, the Mirage 2000 has been upgraded with new electronic warfare capabilities, including radar warning receivers that will alert pilots when they're being targeted by enemy radar, jamming systems designed to throw off enemy radar, and missile tracking and chaff and flare dispensers. These are essential for evading incoming missiles, especially the notorious S-400 systems that Russia loves to boast about. So how do the Mirages compare to the F-16? Well, before Ukraine got its hands on the Mirage 2000 fighters, it was already operating the F-16 AMBM Block 15 Midlife Update, or MLU variants, generously donated by European NATO members like the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, and Greece. Despite the media hype around Ukraine's F-16s, their arrival didn't magically tip the scales overnight, leading some armchair analysts to scoff at the idea that adding the Mirage 2000 would make much of a difference. But here's where things get interesting. While some assume the Mirage 2000 is just another fast-moving annoyance for Russian pilots, it actually brings a big advantage: the ability to launch Storm Shadow missiles natively, one of the most feared weapons in Ukraine's arsenal. Ukraine has already been using the aging Su-24 MR bomber to lob Storm Shadow missiles at Russian targets with pretty good success. The British and French MBDA team even managed to MacGyver the missile onto Soviet-era Su-24s using old Tornado jet pylons. The catch? Well, the integration is far from perfect. The missile likely has to be pre-programmed before takeoff, and there's little to no integration with the Su-24's flight systems, essentially turn it into a flying launch pad. The Mirage 2000, however, solves this problem with full integration into the aircraft's flight and weapons management systems. The Mirage can deploy the Storm Shadow with much greater accuracy, flexibility, and reliability, something Russia's air defense network is definitely not excited about. Another advantage, the Mirage 2000 is a smaller, more nimble launch platform compared to Ukraine's lumbering tactical bomber, the Su-24. That makes it harder for Russian radars to detect before it gets dangerously close. And given that Russia's air defenses have already been struggling to keep up with Ukraine's creative missile tactics, throwing a stealthier delivery system into the mix is not going to make their job any easier. This leads us to the real reason Ukraine's Storm Shadow attacks have slowed recently. There's been a noticeable drop in Ukraine's Storm Shadow strikes, leading some to speculate that Kyiv is running low on missiles. But let's be real. Ukraine's allies, particularly France, still have plenty of Scout missiles, which are basically Storm Shadow's twin brother. The real issue is a dwindling number of Su-24 bombers to launch them. Enter the Mirage 2000s. With these French jets in play, Ukraine can restart its long-range missile campaign without relying on its fragile and increasingly scarce Su-24 fleet. And given Russia's tendency to adapt at a snail's pace, that means a fresh headache for Moscow's air defense planners. Unlike the F-16 program, which has faced delays due to pilot training, bottlenecks, and spare part shortages, the Mirage's integration appears to be moving at a faster pace. Predictably, Russia has dismissed the Mirage deliveries as irrelevant, while simultaneously claiming that their air defenses will neutralize them within days. This is the same narrative Moscow pushed when HIMARS, Leopard tanks, and Patriot missile systems arrived in Ukraine, only to later admit that each posed serious challenges to Russian forces. But reality is catching up. Unlike Ukraine, which continues to receive new and upgraded aircraft, Russia's Air Force is facing severe attrition. Western sanctions have crippled Moscow's ability to produce modern aircraft at scale, and the loss of skilled pilots, many of whom cannot be easily replaced, has further eroded Russia's combat effectiveness. If F-16s are Ukraine's Mavericks, then the Mirage 2000s are their Iceman. Cool, calculated, and about to make some Russian pilots reconsider their life choices. With every Western aircraft Ukraine gets, the balance in the skies shifts just a little more. And while the Mirage 2000 isn't the final answer, there's still talk of Sweden sending Gripens, which honestly would be a changer of the game, so to speak. This is a huge step in the right direction. The Gripen's short runway capabilities make it perfect for Ukraine's decentralized air operations. If this deal goes through, Russia's Air Force will have an even bigger problem. So, to summarize, Ukraine now has Mirages, Russia has a new problem, and somewhere in Moscow, someone's furiously rewriting propaganda to explain why these jets won't matter. That's it for today, friends. If you've made it this far in the video, what's happening right now in the United States is heartbreaking. By now, you probably know that I am not MAGA. The question is, how much will people be able to speak out against the regime until we're silenced? I may have to move down under. Crikey! Anyways, subscribing really helps my channel grow, so if you like military technology, hate authoritarians, especially American ones, and support Ukraine, this is your channel. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.